My goldfish. There's my goldfish. As you can see in the thumbnail of this live stream, the US debt is now at 34 trillion, 626 billion. How insane is that? You know, even if it was at 5 trillion, they wouldn't be able to pay it back. But it's nearly at 35 trillion. That is insane. That is terrible. The US is so fucked. Oh shit, they don't like the flash. Man, the US is so fucked. Look how green that top container is. The water is literally green. It's growing all that algae. So I'm helping. I don't really believe in global warmings or whatever they're calling it, the climate change they're calling it these days, not global warmings. I don't really believe in any of that stuff, but plants do emit oxygen and we do emit CO2. So it does exist, but you know, as more humans exist on this earth, there's going to be more plants to take up that CO2. So like I don't really believe in climate change or global warmings, but one of the biggest emitters of oxygen on planet Earth is actually algae in the ocean, because we have way more ocean than we have land on this Earth. And in all those oceans, there's a bunch of algae. So I'm technically my own little slice of algae in my apartment here. I'm probably not only emitting more oxygen that I take up, but also my cat, my fish, and my dog. So are you doing your part to emit more oxygen? Because I know I am, than I take up. You see this right here? These bubbles never stop. These bubbles just keep going, keep going, keep going. And that's pure oxygen right there. That alone right there is pure oxygen. And it never stops. It's been going for the past 48 hours. Those little bubbles right there, that's pure oxygen coming from the algae and the plant. That's pure oxygen right there. So I emit more oxygen than I take up. Do you do the same? Probably not. Because I also don't drive a vehicle, and vehicles release a lot of CO2. Like I said, I don't believe in climate change, so do what you feel like. But my carbon footprint is definitely net zero, whereas yours is probably really high. You compare it to an African person, you probably take up 10 African people, because you have a vehicle, and lots of those African people don't have vehicles. So my carbon footprint is really low. It's probably lower than an African person with this. But you watching this, not only are you broke, but you're also a waste of oxygen. Yep, fucking waste of oxygen. You're a loser and you're broke. Good luck in life. I'm only 22 years old and I'm doing better than you, most of you. Losers. Can't wait till I get into my 30s, because I'm gonna fucking be flexing so hard on a bunch of these losers. I don't think everyone's a loser, but I do think 90% of people in this country are losers, which is why the US debt is so high. Because people are losers and they don't understand how economics work, they don't understand how finances work. And they just go a shit ton in debt. I got my Ford F-150. I got a house, but I'm $700,000 in debt. Look at me. I'm so successful. No, you're a fucking loser. My Ford F-150. Watch me rev this shit up. Yeah, boy. Look at me rev my Ford F-150 up. $700,000 in debt. Yeah, you broke-ass bitch. You a broke-ass bitch with your Ford F-150. Broke-ass bitch. Fucking losers, man. Seriously. By the time I hit my 30s, I'm going to be so successful. I'm literally, like right now for my age bracket, I'm in the top 1%. But obviously people in their 40s got a lot of money. Like the average 40-year-old has way more money than the average 20-year-old, because they've been working for an extra 20 years. But by the time I'm in my 30s, I'm literally going to be in the top 1% of all age brackets. Right now, I'd say I'm in like probably the top 10% of all age brackets. But that's because I'm only 22. For my age, I'm in the top 1%. But by the time I hit my 30s, holy fuck. Like, I saw a video the other day of Adam Sandler at 22 years old. The video started at 22 years old and showed his net worth. At 22 years old, Adam Sandler started at $0. So technically, I'm richer than Adam Sandler was at my age. But now he's in like his 60s. He's almost 60. And his net worth is like 50 million. But at my age, he had $0 of net worth. And my net worth is like 60,000, 22 years old. By the time I'm 60, my net worth will be 50 million. No joke. But 50 million will be a lot less when I'm 60 than it is today. So technically, I will have less money than Adam Sandler, but at the same time, Adam Sandler has to do a lot more work than me. I'm retired. 22 years old and I'm retired. Adam Sandler, when did he retire? I don't think he's even retired yet because he did that Netflix movie a couple years ago, that Jewel movie. So I don't even think he's retired yet, and he's like 60. You know, I'm retired at 22 years old, and I'm going to have the same amount of money than him. Granted, inflation will make that money a lot cheaper, but whatever. I'll still have the same amount of money than him by the time I'm 60. Guarantee you, I'll be a deca millionaire by the time I hit my 40s. I'll be a deca millionaire. By the time I'm 50, 60, like I'll have tens of millions, you know, but by the time I'm 30, I'll have reached my first 1 million. And by the time I'm 40, I'll have reached my first 10 million. And I might never reach 100 million in my life, but I'll definitely reach 10 million in my life by the time I'm 40. But I don't know if I'll live past 40 because there's lots of things that, like health complications that happen once you get past that age. So if I live till 80, I'll probably hit over 100 million if I live to 80. But also 100 million will be a lot less by the time I'm 80. You know, so, but yeah, if I live past 80, I'll definitely hit 100 million in my life. If I live till Joe Biden's age, I think he's like 81, 82. So if I live to Joe Biden's age, I'll definitely have 100 million. But I might not live till that age, which I can't really complain. I'd like to live till 60, 70, but you know, past that, it's kind of like, why would you want to live any longer, no matter how rich you are? Because you got to think your vision's going to fucking, like my vision already is pretty bad. Your vision's going to suck. Your bones are going to ache. You're barely going to be able to walk. Your memory, your brain functions are going to go down. So like by the time I'm 70, 80, I don't even know if I'll want to be alive anymore. So it's like, as long as I live till 60, that's a long life to me. You know, most people 500 years ago didn't make it past 30. Like a majority of people didn't make it past 30. So 60 is a long life when you compare it to people from 500. And even today, I don't think like most people even make it to 60 today. Obviously, there's people who make it past 60, but that's the exception doesn't create the rule, you know? I don't think a majority of people even make it to 60 these days, if I'm being honest. But yeah. It's crazy, man. Shit's crazy. There's so many ways to die. So many ways to die. Oh my God. So many ways. I think I'm probably going to die from cancer or some type of organ failure. That's how I think I'm going to die, if I'd have to guess. Some type of cancer or organ failure. That's how I think I'm going to die. That's my best guess. But there's so many ways to die. Who knows, really? My little waterfall going here, it's infested with algae. This is only after 4 days. Can't imagine how it's gonna look after a month. It's gonna be crazy. You can see, look, that the bubbles never stop. I'm telling you, that's pure oxygen. It keeps going. It never stops. All of these bubbles on here, that's pure oxygen. My carbon footprint is literally 0 with this tank. I mean, this tank does use up energy, but it only uses like 140 watts. So this definitely produces more oxygen than it takes up, this system here. But obviously I produce a lot of oxygen just by breathing, but like I said, I don't have a vehicle. So this definitely brings my carbon footprint down a lot. A lot. Like, look how green that water is. That's all algae that produces carbon dioxide or oxygen. I produce carbon dioxide. That shit eats the carbon dioxide. Yeah, this is a really good oxygen producing system. It's probably really efficient. So you got to think organisms that produce oxygen also live in these filters. So this produces oxygen. This produces oxygen. These produce carbon dioxide, but it's very little. They fertilize the water, so they help keep all the algae alive. That creates the oxygen. So although they do breathe out carbon dioxide, what they produce definitely makes up for it 100% easily. Like, I would not be surprised if this system produces as much oxygen as I produce carbon dioxide. So my carbon footprint is nearly zero, which is really good. It's really good. Most people in Canada and the United States and the UK, their carbon footprint is so big. But my carbon footprint with this system is probably very minimal, if not nothing. It could even be negative, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't really believe in that shit. I don't believe in climate change. Because the more humans, the more mammals and animals that exist on this planet, the more plants that are going to exist in the wild. Because plants thrive in CO2. And mammals and animals also shit, which is fertilizer. So it's good for the plants.